Hey, what's up, you guys? We're back again with the Toyota pickup. Today we're going to be installing the front sway bar. We just got the bushings in, so we're going to get to that right now. But before we get to installing that, we want to show you guys how it does on turns. This is an empty parking lot, so we're going to do this real quick. We're just going to put the camera on the tripod and do a couple of turns right here and see if the camera picks up the lean the truck has while turning. So I'm going to set you guys up real quick. We just finished watching the clips, and you can't really tell much from the front end of the truck, but from the rear end you can see it a little more, and that's actually where we feel it the most. Ever since we installed the camper shell, we noticed a big difference. While taking a turn, you can feel the truck just get tossed to the side. Hopefully the rear sway bar will fix that rear end issue, but for the front, we're gonna go ahead and install the sway bar right now and see if we noticed any difference. These are the bushings that came in for the sway bar. This is the part number 8.5104G. G is for the color, black. There's two of these. They say 25 millimeter. I don't think the camera's gonna get it, but right there. And then two of these little brackets. Like that. Two washers. Actually 4 washers. And the sway bar end links. So these are gonna have to get cut down, because if you leave them to this full length, it's gonna, since the truck is lowered, I mean, I think on a stock truck you should be good, but since this truck is lowered, it's gonna give us issues. The angle of the sway bar isn't gonna be right. So we got the truck in the air. We jacked it up from the chassis. Now I'm gonna show you guys why it is necessary to remove the torsion bars, because we can't install these sway bars with the torsion bars in unless you have a coilover setup. Then you are pretty much ready to go, but other than that, these torsion bars get in the way. And there's no oil leak anymore. Before there was a big oil leak right here. That's pretty good. There's a little bit of oil right there, but I don't think it's new, or who knows. I'm gonna check the dipstick. But anyways, I'm gonna show you guys. So the sway bar has to go right here. This is one of the mounting holes. I don't know if you guys can see it, right there and right there. And then on this side you have 2 more. Those are for the brackets. So if you see here, this is pretty tight. There's no way you're gonna get this side in. I'm still gonna try it just to show you guys, but I'm pretty sure we're not gonna be able to get it in. I think I'm gonna start with this side and exhaust this on this side. So let me give it a try. Alright, so I might be wrong. You might be able to install these sway bars without removing the torsion bar. We got this side in, we slid it all the way to the side, so it's sticking out on this side now. So now we just got to get this side in, but we are gonna remove the wheel. Regardless, we're gonna have to remove this to see the angle of the bar, but we're gonna remove it right now because it comes in contact with the sway bar. And we're also gonna have this much room to move around, so I'm gonna go ahead and remove those. All right, so this isn't going in. We messed with it for a cool minute, and it's just hitting on this side, and if it's not hitting on this side, it's hitting on this side. So we're just gonna go ahead and remove the torsion bar on the passenger side. So while we're here, before we go to the back to remove the torsion bar, we're just gonna pull this dust cover off. And I think we made a little, oh yeah, there is a little yellow line right here. That's a little line we did just to make sure we got the torsion bar exactly where we had to get it the first time we installed these. So we're going in on the passenger side. So here on the passenger side, this is what holds the torsion bar in. This key right here, and then there's a bolt. So we're just gonna break these two loose, and well, they're like a jam nut setup, and then we're gonna break it loose, remove the top one. We already broke it loose, so we're gonna remove this one all the way out, and then also we're gonna measure the threads. So we're just gonna do that so when we put the torsion bar back in, we could get it at the same height. Some people count the turns, we just measure the threads, same thing. We think it's the same thing. So we measured off camera, and from the top of this nut to the top of the bolt, it's 2 inches. So we want to get it back to the same length from here to here. Now off camera, we're gonna go ahead and loosen this bolt all the way so we could remove the torsion bar. We're just not gonna show you because it's kind of hard. It's hard to get the camera on the tripod underneath the truck. We can't even fit the tripod underneath. So we're just gonna go ahead and do it off camera. Once this is loose, I don't think we have to remove it, but this bracket has to come off. This is holding the torsion bar in place, which kind of just making sure it doesn't fall out of place actually. And there is two 12mm bolts holding it to this cross member. I'm not gonna be able to show you, but there's one here and then there's one up here on this side. You just slide it out, and this is what the bracket looks like. We're gonna set that aside. Now you should be able to remove the torsion bar. So I'm gonna have to use both hands, make sure the ends don't touch the ground. So I'm gonna pull it out and then I'm gonna set it aside. We just laid the torsion bar right there. Now we're gonna move over to the front, but you see how much room that cleared up. And now we're gonna get to installing the sway bar to the chassis. So what we're gonna do next is put a bunch of this, I think it's lithium grease, in these bushings and smear it all around so that it could be ready to go on the sway bar. Now we're gonna cut the sway bar how it should go, like that, and we're going to clean up these bolt holes. See the glare right there. We're just gonna run some of the mounting screws that we got from the junkyard. Pretty sure you could get any screw and do the same thing, but these have these little grooves cut in. It's kind of like not a self tapper, well yeah, somewhat like a self tapper. So we're just gonna run it all the way through to clean up the threads before we install the bar. So run it all the way in, take it out, and then we'll do the second bolt hole. We're gonna do all 4 like this, and since there has never been anything in these bolt holes, there's a lot of dirt. Okay, we got them all cleaned up. Next, we're going to install the bushings. So you just open them up. Let's see if I'm able to do it. Open it up, slide it on. Shit, kind of did it too far. Got a lot of grease on the bar. We're gonna do that on both sides. Oh shit. And then we're gonna put the clamps on. I'm gonna do that off camera because I can't even hold the camera and do all this at the same time. We ran the bolts in just lightly, just to hold it in place. So next we're going to reinstall the torsion bar so that we can start working on the end links. The torsion bar is back in, everything's tight. We measured, we got the same thread count or measurement for the threads. So now we're gonna start working on the sway bar end links. And this whole idea we've seen on a website, I forgot what forum. SD Yoda was the one that posted the thread about upgrading it to the 1-ton sway bars. And he posted that he cut about 1 inch off of this. I don't know exactly how much it measures. Let me see. See if I can measure it with one hand. So it's about 2 inches. Yeah, it's actually 2 inches. So I guess he left it 1 inch long. We're gonna throw it on here and see. So ideally what we want is for the sway bar to be completely flat. Maybe a 10 degree I think is okay. We still have to compress the control arm so that we could have it at right height. So this is at right height, and you can see that the bar is angled up a little bit right there, even though it's not tight, but it's angled up. So I think we're gonna cut. Oh, and all we did is just we put the jack stand under the control arm, and we just let the weight of the truck sit on the jack stand. So what we're gonna do is I think we're gonna cut, let me see. So I think we should be, oh shit, let me see if I could get a measurement. So we are gonna go ahead and cut 1 inch off of this. His truck is slammed. I don't know how low it is, but for us it kind of seems like 1 inch would work. So we're gonna chop this in half. So this is what we got with the 1 inch cut. It looks pretty good, it doesn't look too bad. We're gonna go ahead and do the cut for the driver's side, and then we'll start assembling this, because I think we're gonna need shorter bolts. These bolts are way too long for. So all we did is we used this 3M tape, painter's tape. We wrapped it right at the edge of the whole sleeve thing, like that. And then we cut it with the grinder, and we used the flat wheel to clean it up. So now we're gonna install this on the driver's side. So this is how it goes. It is the bolt through the washer and one of the bushings. Make sure that little thing right there is facing down. So we're gonna insert this, let it sit right there real quick, and then from underneath, from the bottom side of the sway bar, we're gonna install the second bushing with this little piece facing up. Okay, so with the second bushing installed, we're gonna now install another washer. All the bushings and all the washers for this specific kit, they're the same, so it doesn't have to be a specific bushing or size or whatever. As long as you have them facing the right way. Next, we're going to install the little sleeve, and I'm just holding the sleeve in place because we're gonna put another bushing and another washer, except these are gonna be facing down towards the control arm. Now from the bottom, we're gonna install another bushing, the last bushing, with this little thing facing up, and the last washer and nut. We're gonna run to Home Depot real quick to get some bolts. These bolts are just a little bit too long. We thought that they were gonna work, but they didn't. It wouldn't get tight. So we need some bolts about 1 inch shorter to make up for the cut that we did on the sleeve. So I'll be back real quick, and then we'll install these. We got 2 bolts. They are 5 inches long. The bolt that came with the kit is 6 inches, so it's 1 whole inch difference. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw it back on here off camera. And also one more thing, when you set this bushing down, make sure that it's this round thing sits in this hole properly. So it goes like that. I'm gonna go ahead and assemble it. That's what it looks like with the bolt installed. I think a 5.5 would have been perfect just to get the nut started, but you could do it with this. There's enough threads coming out through the nylon nut. Now we just gotta finish installing the sway bar end link on the passenger side. We got both sides tight. Now we're gonna go ahead and get these tight. These are size 12. Get the jack stand out of the way. Go to the passenger side and do the same thing. With both sides tight, now we can go ahead and install the wheel. So there you have it, quick little install. Now we have to drive over to the parking lot tomorrow morning, get some clips and some So I don't know if the camera picked up how much the truck leans now, but it's definitely a big difference from before. So now we gotta move over to the rear and install the rear sway bar. That one's also gonna be a 25mm sway bar, so stay tuned for that. Make sure to check us out on Instagram at youngkit_oxcfilms. I'll leave that in the description down below, and we'll catch you in the next one.